Well, good day, and thanks again for joining me for another version of balls in physics. Yeah, I prefer to keep them in while I'm making videos. So today we're going to discuss why a sunset is impossible on the heliocentric ball Earth model. So this is one I actually find myself describing it quite often. Hopefully I got the camera at a good angle there. It's very ad hoc setups around here because it is what it is. So while I gather my thoughts, because it is Saturday and it is 2:30 in the afternoon, so cheers to all level-headed people who just like to learn stuff for the sake of it. Whether you believe in something or not is irrelevant. I believe that beer is actually good for me. It's a good way of ingesting fluids into my system, because alcohol at a very small rate of 5.8% actually kills off any bacterial activity. And so I come from a long line of people who have fermented sugars with yeast into their water to survive. So I basically needed its basic fuel for me. Now I understand there's a lot of people that don't have a tolerance for alcohol because they're not drinking it correctly. If you're drinking store-bought alcohol, then you're probably doing it wrong. Fortunately, Coopers brew it the old-fashioned way, so it's safe to drink. Nearly every commercially bought product that you get off the shelf is no longer what it says it should be, because they don't have to put it on a label because it's not considered an actual food, so they get around the food laws. If it was sold as a food product, then it would be a completely different story. So all I can suggest is brew your own, or drink something natural. The Cooper's Brewery bottle fermented means that the yeast has turned the sugars into alcohol inside the bottle. Most commercial stuff you buy, they do the same thing in a giant big vat or a tub. Then they evaporate the alcohol out of the water, which is what it's all about. The water is the beer, but the alcohol is just a side effect. But they evaporate that out because it evaporates at a lower temperature. Pardon me, something like about 79 degrees Celsius. So it needs less heat. So that's why they can leave the water in there, evaporate the alcohol out of it, make a pure alcohol, filter it and whatever else they do, and then add exactly 4.5% or whatever your manufactured product says on the label that it should be of pure ethanol back into the bottle. And that's why all those spirit drinks you buy, your vodka cruises and all that, they can call it vodka because it's got nothing to do with the Russian word that means fermented potatoes distilled into spirits. It's all to do with the amount of alcohol put back into a soft drink, artificially made. So anyway, geez, I don't have a lot of time, so I better get to the chase. What was it again? Hang on. Oh, the chase. Right. So, can the sun set on the globe Earth? The globers will tell you that it can't set on a flat Earth. Now, if you've been watching my whiteboard videos, this is the third one. So this is only part 3 so far. So I'm going to make the playlist. I did actually make a playlist last night, but I only put the second one onto it thus far. But eventually I'll put the first one on, and you'll see that the sun can only set on a flat Earth, and it cannot set on a globe. But here I'm going to demonstrate how it cannot set on a globe Earth. So first of all, before you can debunk something, you have to understand it. And this is the thing with most globers, is they do not understand their model. They're told they live on a sphere, and they say, well, you can watch ships disappearing over it, you can watch the sunrise, and you can watch the sunset, and all these lovely, wonderful things on your spinning space ball hurtling through space. But what they don't tell you is the specifics. So let's have a look at some specifics, shall we? So if I were to ask you right now, what is the size of the ball you live on? Obviously, if you're a flat earther, you'll say straight away, well, it's 3,900 and blah, 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 miles radius, because we know this stuff. We research it. Even though we know it's bullshit, the average globe earth believer has no idea. So I'm just going to use rounded figures, because rounded figures suit the oblate spherical earth a lot better. So let's just say, even though it's 24,900 and change miles circumference, and it's 3,900 and something change radius, and it's slightly less than 8,000 miles diameter, because obviously diameter just is 2 times r. Let's just have a look at some basics, and we'll just use rounded figures to make it easier. So even though it's closer to 25,000 miles circumference, for simplicity, it's probably easier if we just use 24,000 miles, because 24,000 miles is equally divided by the 4, the 8, the 6, the everything. It all works a lot more neater. And even though you can later on, if you wish, add in the extras and stuff that you require to be more mathematically correct, that's fine. You can do that. It'll still work more or less the same. This is just averaging it out, because 4,000 miles compared to 3,900 and change miles is insignificant. I'm sure you can agree. It's a bit like if we say, well, the sun is 93 million miles away. Oh, but it's 96 million miles away during summer in the northern hemisphere. That 3 million miles, which is a significant amount of space, we can just say it's insignificant because, well, it's only 3%. Okay, 3%. You know, so if we're acting within a few percent, then I'm sure that you can accept that this is the globe model. So here is the Earth. Here's you standing on the Earth. You got your arms, actually put them in your pockets, because you're just cool, calm, and collected, and you're going, yeah, man, fuck yeah, this is my Earth. Here's your east, there's your west, there's your south, so there's your north. Even that is pretty well meaningless, because it's spinning the whole time. So we can forget the east, south, north, west for a second, but we'll leave them there, because you will see the relevancy eventually. Because really what north means is if the sun, right, the big smiley sun, this fella here is the giver of life. He gives the light and the light. So it means that even though he's 93 million miles away, way the fuck over there, and is billions of times bigger than the Earth, all his light is coming down parallel in all these parallel lines, all the way through the universe, through the Milky Way, through the galaxy, and it's all hitting the Earth. The Earth, it's all the sun is hitting here, which means that across here then, what we got here is a terminator line. That terminator line divides the night from the day. So the day means then, so here's midday, you know, let's keep this in, this is important, 12 p.m. That's when the sun's overhead. So for our observer here, and the sun sets in the west, we'll make that 6 p.m. So it rises in the east at 6 a.m. Now this is the globe model. This is how we're told we see night and day. Sun rises in the east, so little man is standing here, boom, 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 he's looking up. Well, how can he be looking up? How can he be looking up? He's looking across and down. So here's where we start bringing in some big figures, because we're told we've got 4,000 miles radius, which means 8,000 D. So there's your D from there to there, and your R's from there to there. So it means basically sunrise is a 4,000 mile drop. And because this is 8,000 miles across, because we're going around the radius, by using spherical geometry, that means that this 4,000 mile of drop is actually 6,000 miles of, well, it's curvature drop. CD, it's curvature drop. Yeah, the drop down here, boom, 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 that's 4,000. So your 4,000 miles of drop is to there, but your curvature around the edge, you're going around a curve. It's 6,000 miles. It's 2,000 miles extra that you've actually had to travel from sunrise to midday to see the point where, well, you're not going to see it. Now, this is the thing. Somebody over here, they're seeing the sunrise, because to them, as the earth turns, that's their sunrise. Hang on, it's turning towards the west, of course, because the sun sets in the west. Hang on a second. No, it's turning towards the east. My bad. So the person here is where they're seeing the sun rise, then the sun is down here, because they're seeing it rise over their horizon, because it only rises on the horizon. But you're seeing it up here, and they're seeing it down here. I'm already starting to smell a bit of a problem here, but let's not worry about other people's problems. Let's think about our problems. And what is our problem? Well, our problem is that when the sun's overhead, it appears highest. And yet we're 4,000 miles closer to it. Okay, so the globe gets away with that. We're saying, well, it's 93 million miles away. What's 4,000 miles over 93 million miles? Well, why would it appear higher if it appears on our local horizon? Now, this is the point I'm trying to get to. Where is your local horizon? Now, let's say we're looking on the flat earth down here, ignoring that for the moment. And so you're standing on your mountain. How can you stand on a mountain? It's pointing up your butt. We'll make it around it now. And so when you see the sun rise over here, coming up above your horizon, and it's obviously going to set below your horizon over here, how far do you think your horizon is either side of you? How far is it? Now, I challenge you to do this. I challenge everybody to do this, especially globetards, but even flat earthers. This is one you should really look into and challenge for yourself, so you know, so you have this in your arsenal, so you can punch the globe heads in the head even more. Because you ask somebody, where is the furthest point you can see at sunrise? Where is the most distant point you can see at sunrise? Now, some people might have a very good field of view. You might be able to see 50 miles away either side. If so, great. I guarantee you don't. unless you are familiar with a very good lookout point and you make the effort to go to there regularly and look at it and watch the sunrise and watch the sunset, and you work out exactly how far the furthest point is that you can see when the sun rises, and you work out exactly where the furthest point is where you see the sunset. And I will guarantee to you that it is within a very small field of vision, or as I sometimes refer to it, window of opportunity or window of vision, where you are seeing the sun morning to evening is tiny. And the best way to prove that is to find the furthest thing you can see either side, put them into Google Maps, put a dot there and a dot there for your furthest points, and that's your circumference or your circle of daily vision. Now this is where you are seeing the sun from sunrise to sunset, and you believe it's going from beneath the horizon to below the horizon. Man, notifications will you just ping off. Why can't they just do that when I'm making a video? So that is your localized field of vision. Now plot that on Google Maps and then do the little 2-finger. Zoom out. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. It is not long before that tiny little circle of vision that you have in your tiny little spot is nothing. It's not even a pixel on the Google Maps, and you haven't even reached the edge of your state or your nation or your country or wherever you may happen to be. It is nothing. Okay, it is nothing. It's not even a dot. So all my diagrams from here on in are going to be so far out of scale, because any little dot that I draw, like here where you stand, is going to be about 1,000 times bigger than your actual field of vision. Now, if you are on a globe, you cannot see beyond the curve, right? Because the curve is your horizon, either side. I can go into it another day why it appears to rise to eye level, but for magical reasons, because you live on a golf ball world, the horizon rises to eye level while you're at the bottom of your dimple all around you, and if you got higher and higher, well, your dimple just rises with you magically around you, all sides. That alone debunks the globe, but we're not even started yet. So if this tiny little dot is your little golf ball vision of the world, then basically a tangent line all the way across here to here means that this tangent, where it just touches the globe, is probably hundreds of times bigger than the window of opportunity or window of vision that you are seeing throughout the day. And yet you believe that the sun is setting or rises here and sets over here at 6 p.m. So how the hell, if you can't even see past here and here, barely a few miles away, are you seeing the sun setting here or rising over here? You just can't. It's just impossible. The whole globe. Now, you know, if I had a lot more time, I'd go into it and I'll rub that all out. It's my magic eraser that I forgot to bring with me because I wasn't planning on going into a big in-depth discussion today. But I will, because I'm here and I've got 5 minutes left. Is that is that your ball belief, right? Your ball is on this tilt. It's 23.4 degrees, which is 66 0.6 degrees here, but the equator then must be going over here. So your horizon is literally not even going this way. It's going some weird fucking tangential way. As I said, I'm not even going to start on the tilt today because it's a very in-depth topic, and it requires far more memory than what I got left, which is basically still 5 minutes. So instead, of debunking the globe Earth, let's look at it on the flat Earth. So on the flat Earth, we do have an horizon. It's in the middle of the field. It's always going to be in the middle of the field. And if we do see a sunset over here, this is what people are saying. So you've got your beach down here. You're standing here on the shore, looking out, and you're seeing the sun. So you've got all this water here. It's all water all the way. And so so the glober will be thinking the sun, and this is their words. It's not words I would even use, but it's the words they do use. Is they say that there is a mountain of water between you and the horizon that is obscuring the sun. Now, if you've got even a slight amount of logical thought in your brain, it's hard to say these days because I don't know that many people do. But here's a bottle of colloidal silver I made the other day. I just made it in this jar because I'm running out of glass jars to make it in. So now, it doesn't really matter how much I tilt this jar, okay? This is colloidal silver that I made, and if you'd like to make it, it's quite simple. Use distilled water, get 2 silver electrodes, get a 12-volt transformer, strip the wire off one end's positive, one end's negative, attach one to each electrode, sit them in the water, and after about 2 to 3 hours, you'll have colloidal silver. And then you can turn the power off. Don't forget to wipe the electrodes occasionally because you will get a bit of build-up of scum. But basically, it doesn't matter which way I hold this bottle. The water is going to find its level. It's just nature. This is the nature of fluids. It's inescapable. So, if you think then that when you're at the ocean, that the water is creating a mountain in front of you that's obscuring everything beyond you, then you just don't understand basic nature of water. The water is flat. Perspective makes it appear as though the horizon is ramping up to eye level. And because of this, it's a thing called convergence. You can see it in any hallway. That which is beneath you will appear to converge upwards. That which is above you will appear to converge downwards, and they will all meet at the convergence point. So this horizon here, to the viewer, is only 3 or 4 miles away. The sun, by the time it's getting hidden by the convergence point, is possibly 6,000 miles away, as I showed in the first diagram. So when something is sufficiently far enough away, the convergence point, rising up to your very nearby local eye level, only 3 or 4 miles away, everything will start to get obscured by that. And the fact that it takes 6,000 miles for the sun to become obscured to your eye level is only evidence of how high it is in the first place. Because the higher you go, the further you can see. is very straightforward, and I will have to leave this video here. Thanks for watching, and we will meet again on the next one because I've got so much more to talk about. Cheers.